Hello, everyone. I'm Rita Peters, and welcome back to a special edition of COS Live. In just a few moments, we are expecting a hearing in the Iowa House Committee on State Government. If you joined us yesterday, you joined us for the subcommittee hearing, and that subcommittee is a smaller group of this full committee in the Iowa House Committee on State Government. This is in consideration of our Article 5 Convention of States application, which you will hear referred to as HJR 6. So as you can see, the committee meeting has already started. They had a list of 5 or 6 bills ahead of us. Ours is the last on the agenda. However, Producer G went ahead and brought me on to do the introduction because they're moving through this list of bills very quickly. So far, there hasn't even been a whole lot of discussion or debate on the bills. They're just kind of bringing them up. Sponsor is introducing, or subcommittee chair is introducing, saying a few words, and then they're moving pretty quickly to the vote. So Producer G, hopefully you can keep listening in to the audio for us, because of course we don't have any indication on the video of when they get to our bill. Now, 19 states have already passed our resolution calling for an Article 5 convention for proposing amendments to the U.S. Constitution on 3 topics: fiscal restraints, term limits, and limits on federal power and jurisdiction. We need 34 states to pass this resolution to get to convention. We've already passed in 19, so just 15 states to go to call the first ever Article 5 convention. Producer G has put up again our beautiful graphic. You can see there in green the 19 states that have already passed this resolution being considered this morning by the Iowa House State Government Committee. You can see in yellow the 2 states where the Senate this year has passed this resolution, and in blue, states where the resolution is still pending and active and looking for forward action in the coming weeks. So if you thought, didn't we just stream Iowa? Why are we back in Iowa again? You're not far off. You are correct. Yesterday morning, as I mentioned, a subcommittee of this Iowa House State Government Committee heard public testimony, and they voted on a party line vote 2-1 to advance our resolution to the full committee. And they didn't waste any time. Here we are about 24 hours later, up for consideration by the full Iowa House State Government Committee. Now, in Iowa, at the full committee level, they don't take public testimony. Usually, no one else speaks. It's just the sponsor and committee members talking about the legislation and then voting on it. It's as simple as that. But yesterday, as I said, the COS Iowa team did provide public testimony, led first off by our very own Karen Schuster, who is an associate regional director and also is an Iowa native and has led this effort there for many years. I know Karen is on the ground there today. So she hopefully will be able to join us after the vote and give us her reaction, maybe any behind the scenes information. So again, no testimony will be heard today. We'll just hear the legislators in this committee discussing our Article 5 application and voting on whether to forward it to the Iowa House for debate and floor action in the House. On January 29th, a subcommittee on the Senate side in Iowa also agreed to advance the companion resolution to the full Senate State Government Committee, and we're still awaiting our vote and action from that Senate State Government Committee. Again, today we're on the House side, and if there is a successful vote today, then we'll be looking to have floor action scheduled in the Iowa House. So as a reminder, more than 56,000 Iowans have signed the Convention of States petition asking their state legislators to vote yes for the COS. We will see how well these committee members are listening to the voices of their constituents today when they vote. Team COS Iowa has held town halls and some really impressive Capitol rallies to boost the effort there. They've also acquired the endorsements of some pretty influential Iowans, including Blaze TV's Steve Deace and Bob Vanderplots of the Family Leader. Last year, we did have successful votes in committee in Iowa, but we never got scheduled for a floor vote. So the Iowa team is working to get farther this year and push their state across the finish line. If they do that before any other states this year, that would make them state number 20 to pass this Article 5 application. Now, stay tuned after the hearing because we're hoping to get a recap and on the ground reaction from Karen Schuster, who is an Iowa native and is on the ground there. Regional Director Catherine Zamanek, I can tell you, is in Indiana today, where the Indiana team is conducting its surge at the Capitol. So that's what's about to happen in Iowa. Looks like they're not quite on our resolution yet. Last I heard from producer G, they're on number 6. And again, we are number 7. So let me talk to you for just a minute while we wait on our other 2 Senate victories this year that I mentioned earlier. Both the South Dakota Senate and the Wyoming Senate have passed our resolution this year. The votes in the South Dakota Senate were 23-9, and in the Wyoming Senate, 22-7. So pretty solid victories there. Unfortunately, in the South Dakota Senate, we went on to a heartbreaking loss on the floor. In Wyoming, we're still moving forward. We were recently assigned to committee. And at this point, we're just waiting to get our committee hearing date in the Wyoming Senate Education Committee. We are very hopeful about the potential for a positive outcome there. So stay tuned. And of course, we'll bring you live coverage of that committee hearing once it takes place. Now, at the committee level, we did score a preliminary victory, as I mentioned before, in an Iowa Senate subcommittee. That win was 2-1. And we are expecting a subcommittee in the House. Actually, that's old news. We had our House subcommittee public hearing just yesterday and passed, as I said, on a 2-1 party line vote. Now, something we didn't stream earlier this month because it was so short was a New Hampshire committee. That committee, we saw the public testimony and the hearing, but the New Hampshire committee then took action in executive session and voted 10-7 to advance our resolution to the House floor. So we're still waiting for that House floor debate and vote to be scheduled, and we will keep you posted on that. It looks like the committee meeting has ended early without getting to our resolution. Not sure what happened there or why they did that. They may have needed to postpone it until another day. And looked like we had Catherine Zamanek just a minute ago. I thought she was in the Indiana State Capitol, but hey, this is the name of the game. During legislative season, things change very quickly, and we have to pivot. We have to be ready to adjust at the last minute. And it appears that that's what is happening today because, as I said, we were on the agenda for this Iowa House State Government Committee. Doesn't look like they got to us. Catherine, looks like we have you. Are you in the Indiana State Capitol right now?
I am. I'm getting some feedback.
I don't hear feedback on my end, Catherine. So you sound good
Hold
to me.
on a second. Okay. I'm
Actually,
going to
Catherine, some breaking news.
share.
I just got a text from someone on our team in Iowa, and the message says, ran out of time in state government. It was deferred to next week's committee meeting. So, as I just said, things change very quickly during legislative season. Things like this happen all the time. So, want to apologize to our viewers, but it looks like our day in Iowa House State Government Committee will come next week. Catherine, thoughts,
Hi.
comments?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Okay, great. Sorry, I had to find a quiet corner here in the Indiana Capitol. I'm getting a little echoey here. But yeah, a disappointment. But I also think that what it means is they're going to really take the time and do this right in Iowa. So, we've got some time. We understand that we have a March 7th sort of deadline to pass one full committee over the other. And we know we have a lot of support in this committee. So we're hoping that the House will take us up. Wednesday seems to be the day. And, perhaps we'll get Rick Santorum out there and he can also be talking to some of our folks that may be fence sitters. So I think this is actually a good thing. God works for us in ways to help us. And I guess not taking it up today isn't a bad deal.
Absolutely. That's right. And I appreciate that positive outlook. I think you're absolutely right. I do think it's a good sign that the committee chair, who we know to be a strong Convention of State supporter, it's great that she had it on the agenda for today, even though it just came out of subcommittee yesterday. They didn't get to it. They ran out of time. That's fine. We're told it will be in committee next week. So, folks, come back next week. We'll offer live coverage again right here. And Catherine, before we sign off, just tell us what you're planning to do today with that team in Indiana.
Thanks. We just had a great, I'll call it a rally, kind of a mini rally, where we had some speakers. We had Senator Holdman and Senator Liz Brown speak to us. Senator Brown's the one carrying the parental rights bill that we're supporting here. And then Senator Holdman is carrying our 34 Ready, our commissioner selection bill. So they both came down and spoke to us. And the teams are now off. They're meeting with their legislators. Some are sitting in on the House session. The Senate session is going to be this afternoon. It's really an opportunity for many of the new people to get to know the Capitol here in Indiana and to become activists. This is what we train them up to do. So we've got a great crowd here today. And I'll tell you what, if you have a sweet tooth, we have an entire 8-foot table of goodies.
Wow.
Oh, they do
Well,
it right in Indiana.
Catherine, that's exciting to hear. And for our viewers who, may be new to the movement, Indiana has already passed our Convention of States application. They are one of the 19 states to have already done so. But our team doesn't go away. They don't just go sit at
Right.
home once that application is passed. So this year, the Indiana team has been working on 34 Ready legislation. That's the procedural piece that just gets the state ready for the first Article 5 convention, talks about how the commissioners are chosen, how they're governed during the process. And that legislation, Catherine, I believe, has already completely passed the Senate in Indiana. So now it's
Yep.
pending and moving forward in the House. And our team is also works on F3 legislation. That's legislation that is supportive of federalism, freedom, and fundamental rights. And our great Indiana team is working on all of that stuff. Catherine, anything else you want to say about Indiana before we sign off today?
A new Hoosier, and it's wonderful to be at the Indiana Capitol. It's pretty exciting. I would just say that to any of the states that have passed, keep it going, because I think that it's so important work of what we're doing. The Indiana team is a great, strong team. They are building relationships with legislators, which we know is so important. And also, it's sort of like family, that's really what Convention of States is. once you get into our family as a volunteer, we nurture you, we keep you going. So we just appreciate all the work that the states are doing, whether you're a past state, whether you're a state that's got pending legislation. It looks like there's a young lady here that needs to get her card out here. So I should probably sign off.
All right, Catherine, thank you so much, and go Hoosiers.
Amen. Go Hoosiers. All right. Thanks, Rita.
Yep. All right, everyone, you've been watching a special edition of COS Live. Sometimes they don't go the way we expect. So, again, the Iowa House State Government Committee ran out of time before they got to our Article 5 application. So, check back for updates on when the new committee hearing will be, but we do expect that next week. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Have a great day.